Welcome back to the Gun Collective podcast. My name is Jon Patton. Guys, I want you to check out our sponsor, Vertex. They make some of the best EDC bags on earth. I use the Ready Bag 2.0 or Ready Pack 2.0, I believe it's called. I'm wearing their jeans right now. I wear their polos all the time. Seriously, this brand gets it. They've got stuff that works for everybody. And if you use the code TGC at vertex.com, that's VERTX.com, you'll get 25% off. That's TGC at vertex.com. I also want to give a shout out to our other sponsor, Make Ready Arms. Make Ready Arms is a company that is basically the e-commerce solution for firearms retailers, instructors, and maybe somebody that just wants to make some side cash. They have a full-on website builder, including the ability to pull down from most of the big distributors around, which means you don't really have to worry about housing inventory or anything like that. You just got to worry about making some money. To get a 30-day free trial, use the code TGC30 at makereadyarms.com. Now, tonight, we have a returner. We have a big boy coming back. We're joined by a man that hails from enemy territory up in New England. Yes, everybody. Oh, not one of those. He has a channel on YouTube called Guns and Gadgets, and his name is Jared. Jared, thank you for being here.
Thanks for the invite, man. I'm always thrilled to talk to you.
I'm glad to have you back, dude. The last time we talked, there was all kinds of nonsense going on, and that has not stopped. But first, I want to ask you something that's important for me. How are you doing?
I'm doing, man. It was a tough time. You know, those who don't watch the channel, we lost my dad just before the holidays. It was rough, but bad accident and caught everybody off guard. But pushing through, brother, pushing through. This, luckily, between my full-time job and my second full-time job here on the channel, I stay busy. So thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're keeping your head up. You seem like, you're doing all right, which is fantastic. It's really good to hear. I know, people have seen me literally cry on the internet. I know what it's like to lose your pop, especially around the holidays. I get it.
Yeah, so it was tough.
I'm glad that you're doing well.
Thank you, man.
Let's take some time and let's talk about, you have a list. We were talking about something new. Do you want to talk about the new? Do you want to go over that first? So Before we went live, Jared said there's some new stuff going on in Virginia. Break it down for us.
Absolutely. So for those who watch the channel, you haven't even seen this yet on my side. I literally just got two bits of information from Virginia. So this is hot off the press. The first is a bill that they just heard a couple hours ago. I won't bore everybody with all of the details. I'll give you the quick rundown of the summary. But if you want to look it up, it's Virginia Senate Bill 353. And the long and the short of it is they want to ban outdoor shooting ranges unless you meet a couple of some of their defined areas, which would be with 500 yards of any property zoned for residential use, unless the range design criteria developed by the United States Department of Energy, blah, 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 blah. The fine is between $1,000 and $100K. And if you have a subsequent violation, it's $5K a day for every day thereafter. So this falls like literally 2 days after they put in it's a House Bill 567, which wanted to do away with all the indoor ranges unless it was a building owned or leased by the Commonwealth of Virginia or the federal government. And there was a bunch of, that's crazy. There was a bunch of things. Mainly that bill looked like on paper that it was kind of targeting the NRA and their ranges in Virginia. But there are a lot that fall under that. So they're trying to just take away everything in this state. It's almost like Ralph Northam has signed a treaty with the devil, and he's trying to set something off. But
do you think this is reactionary to all of the Second Amendment sanctuary things going on? Do you think he's like, well, screw that, I'm gonna take their ranges away so nobody can shoot? Man,
I'm sure.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm sure that's definitely part of it. Just because if you've been following him for the last couple of years, he's tried a lot of this for the last 4 years, 3 years definitely. But up until November, there were Republican majorities that stopped a lot of this. So now that he has his new posse that just took their oaths yesterday, took their oath, and then the first thing they did after they dropped their hand was to violate the Constitution. So he's got his posse. It's all Democrats. There's no way to stop them as long as they vote down the party line. So I see a lot of this crazy stuff actually being passed just because there's no way to stop it.
I find that hard to believe that there's no way to stop it. Like, how is it that they can propose a law and then put it in without any resistance? I don't understand.
Well, there's plenty of resistance.
Not all Democrats, right? It's not all anti-gunners.
No, but they have the majority now in the House and Senate. So as long as they vote down party lines, the bill is going to the governor's desk, and he's already promised to sign it.
And he's a huge piece of crap. So yeah,
he's an award winner in that area. So it does have a lot of kickback, and we'll talk about the VCDL thing coming up on the 20th, where they're expecting anywhere between 50 and 100,000 people now.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, the numbers are huge, and that was the second thing. Literally, I got a text right before we went live. The Virginia State Police are now pulling troopers from across the state from different duty locations to converge on the state building for the 20th to be security for the governor and the legislature. So they're worried.
Well, they should be.
We'll see. Yeah, they should be
trying to strip people of the Second Amendment, and clearly people are not going to stand for it. I mean,
yeah, it's definitely like all eyes, not just here. Like I get people who in Australia and Europe who shoot me messages on the channel now, and they're all watching what's going on in Virginia. So it has the world's focus right now, and all those little anti-gun governors that are still scattered around the country are watching intently, because if any of this stuff they're throwing against the wall works, it's going to follow suit immediately.
Yeah, they're waiting for a playbook to emerge.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
What's really interesting to me about this entire scenario is that it's kind of a wake up call. Yeah. You know, I was talking to one of my former employers. I was at his gun shop yesterday, and we were talking about how a lot of what we're dealing with right now is the result of the last 10 to 15 years of gun owners not getting off their rear ends and making effort to either vote or run for office or anything like that. You know, we're now stuck with the need to go to court to fight laws after they're put in place, and a lot of times that just falls on deaf ears. You know, especially if it goes to the Supreme Court, they don't want to hear anything right now. They don't want to hear gun cases.
They're a joke. I mean, they're afraid to do anything that they're supposed to. It's supposed to be a series of checks and balances, as you know, but I haven't seen a single check or a balance come out of the Supreme Court in quite a while. And the last time we had one in our arena was 10 years ago, and the one we have in there now, from when I listen to the arguments, I don't see that coming in our favor. So we'll see. I mean, it's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah. So Virginia. They're basically trying to shut down all gun ranges. What are the other things for people that are unaware? What are the other things that the proposed laws are attacking?
How much time you got?
I got all night.
All right. So some of the bigger ones, more recent, HB 961. It's the proverbial magazine ban. Anything 10 or over turns you into a ninja and thus is illegal. Silencer ban, trigger crank ban, bump stock ban. Any shotgun that can hold more than 7 rounds of the longest cartridge it was chambered for would be illegal to carry in across the state. They want to take away the ability or the right of those people under 21 and above 18 to purchase rifles. They want to institute a wait period, 1 gun a month, a red flag. They also, Northam had released his budget bill 10 days ago, something like that. And he had a lot of this stuff in here he was asking money for before the law was even passed, which you don't see typically in budget bills. So he's already asking for money for gun control that doesn't exist, which in and of itself, I mean, politicians are pretty freaking crooked, but this guy is like he's like Der Fuhrer right now. So in that budget bill, he had a couple things. So he was increasing line items in the corrections budget. specifically to house red flag victims, law-abiding citizens who were going to have their Second Amendment rights stripped without due process, without being accused of a crime. We just don't like it. We're going to take your guns. So he was looking for $250,000 for that. He also had 2 line items in which in total was asking for $6.8 million for the funding of 28 positions for enforcing his gun control. So I did a video on that called Jackbooted Thugs, and that really got a lot of people stirring. But he's looking for that kind of money for those positions. Now, once that came out, not saying it was me, but GOA put out a thing about it, and so did others. Now he's doing we used to call the crawfish in Louisiana. He's backing away from it quick, saying that's not what the money's for, but it specifically says in his budget, if you read it, that's what it's for. It's insane.
People won't read?
Yes, that's exactly what they do. That's why we're in the position we're in now, because for far too long, those of us on the Second Amendment side, if it didn't bother us, the individual, we didn't care. That's why we're so fractured as a group. We're the silent majority, we like to call ourselves that, but we're so fractured as a group that if we could ever get our heads out of our proverbial rear ends, we would be a force to be reckoned with. But as long as you got the tactical guys who hate the shotgunners, and the shotgunners hate the hunters, and the hunters hate we got to get rid of that group thing. Otherwise, they're going to pick us apart like they have been for the last few years.
Totally agree. I have no idea how we could possibly unite, because everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to pretend like they're the alpha. I wish I had a good plan for uniting people, because just saying we should all unite is clearly not enough. Because what you'll get is the second a new gun comes out, everybody's emotional attachment to an inanimate object rears its head. Oh my God, I don't own that, or I won't. I'm definitely buying that, or I'm not going to ever buy that because such and such other guy owned one and he sucks. And come on, come on.
Yes. The old 9 versus 45 thing.
Yeah, it's basically like people joke about that, but that's basically what's going on in the gun community. So what do you think is the current value of tar and feathers in Virginia? Because I think it's going to go up.
Yeah, get your stock spot now, because the 20th is going to be a big sell.
Specifically, those 2 commodities. Yeah.
I wish I could be there. Unfortunately, I can't. But I'll be at SHOT because I had committed last year, so I didn't really know this was going to pop off. But I get a lot of people who ask, why did they pick the 20th? Because don't they know SHOT Show is going on and stuff like that? But it's been that date for a while. The VCDL, the Virginia Citizens Defense League, they have their annual lobby day on the 20th, on MLK Day, every single year, and they typically get about 1,000 people that show up. And now that Northam is going cuckoo, like I said, they're expecting around 50 to possibly 100K showing up. There's people coming from all over the country to stand arm in arm with their brothers and sisters. So we'll see what happens.
I'm excited. We've been asked, and some people even got upset that we're going to SHOT. Like, I'm sorry, I donated money. First of all, I made sure that TGC put some money into the funds so that
I did as well. Yep.
I know you did. I know you did that 10 times over, but it's really about, look, I can't be there physically, so here's some financial support for those that can be there. I would love to be there, but we're leaving on Sunday to drive to Las Vegas, and it's an unfortunate situation, but those that will be there will do some good things, I hope.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll have people feeding me info. So if you want info, stay tuned. Even though I'm going to be in the desert, I'll still be pumping videos out. So if there's something to be told, it'll be told.
Yeah, you'll just be doing it with chapped lips. That's all.
yeah.
So Virginia is a complete nightmare. Everybody should try to be there on the 20th if they can. There are buses. Go to the VCDL website. I think it's vcdl.org to learn more about that, to get some info on how to get involved. But that's not it. There's other stuff.
Yeah. So with all of the eyes on Virginia, the other states are taking their opportunity to fly under the radar and do some of their other stuff. So we have, of all states, Live Free or Die, New Hampshire. Last night, man, I was busy yesterday. I put 4 videos out yesterday. It was crazy.
That's why I was like, man, I'm getting a lot of him in my feed right now. It was all yesterday.
It was a busy day.
All
It
right.
was a
all
busy,
right.
busy day. So the House of Representatives in Virginia, see, it's on my brain, in New Hampshire, they voted in the red flag. So it passed their House by a decent number, and now it goes to the Senate, which is a Democrat majority. So they're already saying it's going to pass there. The only hope is Chris Sununu, the governor there, is Republican. So we're hoping that we get another rejection on that, because one of the last hopes of the Second Amendment is New Hampshire, and if they go red flag, then it's all downhill from there. Indiana jumped in the we're going to try to outdo you in gun control ring. They put through, it's up for hearing now. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's talk about New Hampshire for a second here.
Sure.
I'm listening and it's absorbing. So this is something I want to run by you. We've seen red flag laws be instituted all over the country. Like, this is not a new thing. Why do you think Republican politicians are backing these things? Because that's how they're getting through. It's not just Democrats. It's not just Republicans. It's both. They're seeing bipartisan support. Why do you think Republicans in politician spots are so undereducated or unwilling to be educated about this? Do you think it's a reactionary thing and they're trying to just like, oh my God, look what I did to get reelected? Or is it something else?
It's 100% a feel-good legislation. It pulls at the heartstrings, and there isn't anybody out there that wants to figure out how we can stop the madman from picking up a gun, obviously, and hurting people. And this is the red flag is a way that I've talked to Republicans in my state here who voted for it, and I call them out constantly. But their way of seeing it is it's a way that we can help someone in need or prevent something from happening, or save lives and stop suicides. Now, every one of the heartstring tickets that are on this bill to try to sell it to the masses is an outright lie. Every single one of them. It doesn't prevent anything in my field. If somebody has made the decision to kill themselves, it doesn't matter what they're holding.
Remind everybody what field you're in.
I'm a police officer. I'm a constitutional police officer. There's not many of us. But it's the instrument isn't the issue. A lot of times it's unfortunately what's going on inside the person that has them in that state of mind, and violating their constitutional rights, violating their due process. There's so many of our own civil rights that are violated with the red flag. For me, someone who does this, it's unbelievable that it's spreading like wildfire. It is the biggest risk the Second Amendment has, because so many states are selling it hook, line, and sinker. And it's all funded by Michael Bloomberg. Every single state that would put up a bill in the last 3-4 years has been funded by him. And they're selling it as it's a way for us to if somebody's showing that they're in crisis, then we can make sure they stay safe. And you can't do that. You just can't.
We're gonna preemptively steal your stuff and pretend like you matter. So I want to talk about the concept of red flags for a second here. Country Boy Guns in the comments, I'll put it up on the screen. He said, how do they not understand that you can't legislate evil into extinction? It's not that they don't understand, it's that they simply don't care. And I think that's the hardest thing for gun owners to stomach. Is like we have this, we believe in the Constitution. Most of us believe in the Constitution very firmly. We believe in the enumerated rights. And what starts to happen in politicians' brains is that they go, you know what? I'm going to get reelected and get more money and more power if I put this into effect. It will never affect me because I am above the law. And what I am saying sounds really ridiculous, but it's the damn truth. They don't care. They really don't care. Go ahead.
No, that's just a paycheck for these guys and gals. They worry about their next term. That's all they care about. A lot of people say that it's the country screwed up because who lived in the White House for the last 4 to 8 years? But in actuality, it's the people who work under the dome for the last 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about
The
that.
president hasn't. I mean, the administration has very, very little effect on what's going on. The career politicians, your Pelosi's, Schumer's, Feinstein's, all those catastrophic morons are the problem.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. But going back to the red flag, that's how they sell this, because they count on us, the people, not knowing about it, and they count on their followers, the people who vote with their heartstrings instead of fact. They count on them being at the polls because most of us, work or are unfortunately single-purpose voters. So they get them to come out in droves, and that's what gets this stuff passed. I have my representative and my state rep and my state senator live within a couple miles of my house here. And I know them personally. I have their own phone numbers. I talk to them a lot, but they're Republican. They both voted for it. And it was an interesting call. I called them while they were on the floor voting, and they just, too many of them have the attitude like, Jared, no matter what it was going to pass, it didn't matter what I did.
Yeah, so I'm just going to vote for it. Get out of here, you piece of shit. I hate that.
To my response was, it's just like baseball. I'd rather have you go down swinging than go down looking. Stand by your morals. Stand for what stand for what you believe in. Hey, take the L. If the deck was stacked, take the L, but do the right thing. That's gone now. That
really hurts my soul. You are a bringer of sadness and doom. That's what you are. All right. So New Hampshire passed red flag laws because of the live free or die state is a little less free. What else?
Well, it's only half there. It still has to go through the Senate, but it's further than it's ever been. Hawaii and Colorado, their red flag went into effect on New Year's Day. So that's 2 more states into the stack. So Indiana, they while everybody's focused on Virginia, they went cuckoo. They have proposed an assault weapon ban for sales, trades, transfers, possession, a magazine ban as well. And when I say assault weapon ban, I know that it's a made-up term, guys and gals. It's just I'm using their term because that's what the bill says. And also multi-burst trigger activators.
What is that?
I had to read that one. Usually I skip over the definitions part of bills, but yeah, the multi-burst trigger activator. It's trigger cranks, your echo triggers, your bump stocks, your Jerry Miculix, all that stuff would be illegal if this passes too. The typical multi-burst trigger activator. Yeah, that's going to be the new. Trust me, that'll be the new thing coming around the next couple months.
That's good. Hey, we have a couple super chats from Alaskan Ballistics. Guy's name's Chuck. He's awesome. He says, we defeated red flag laws 2 years ago with the Democratic majority and lib independent governor by writing and calling in. Representative David Eastman helped to kick it in committee.
Awesome. That's
rad.
Awesome. And that's key. A lot of people, I get a lot of comments that, because I tell people to call your senators, call your reps all the time. And I always get the ones, it doesn't work. It's a waste of time. Look, I live in Massachusetts, the People's Republic. My senators are Markey and Hiawatha, but I call Elizabeth Warren's office all the time, telling her the way she should vote as my representative. Unfortunately, I know I'm going to get the rubber stamp letter, go F off, kid, but I still do it because silence. If you don't challenge them, then they think you're accepting it. Silence is acceptance. I still call them. I don't care. I call other states too. When somebody needs to speak up, unfortunately, it's a tough job. It's a pain in the butt. You got to pick up the phone like we used to in the old days and dial 7 digits and actually tell people, vote for this or you're not getting reelected, or vote for this or I'll pass the word, or don't vote for this because. But when you call, you got to sound educated. Know what the bill is that you're talking about, and don't. There's your problem. Don't MF them. Don't get yourself red flagged. You have to sound respectful and intelligent, and that's how you at least get them to listen. They might not care, but the second you go cuckoo on them on the phone, then they'll never take you serious. They'll put your name down. They'll know who you were. Believe me. In some of these states, look at Florida. You fart wrong and they red flag you. So don't get yourself in that situation.
I wish Elizabeth Warren would just cease to exist.
Yeah.
She is just ants at a picnic like the entire time. She's just the worst.
She's a peach, ain't she?
Oh man, her and Bernie Sanders. I mean, I don't get into politics too much, like my personal politics. Obviously, everybody knows that libertarianism, yay! But oh my lord, I can't stand listening to them speak. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no worries, brother. New York's back in the game. We haven't heard from Governor Cuomo in too long, so he jumped in. He has promised that it hasn't come out in text yet, but he's promised to submit a ban on online gun parts and 80% lowers.
What does that mean? You're not going to be able to buy anything online for guns?
In that state, correct. Yeah, in New York. And a lot of people were first asking, like, how could he even do that? But again, in this communist regime of Massachusetts, we have companies. So the peons here can't buy 80% lowers in mass. And what you see is a lot of companies who sell parts won't even sell them to the state because of the gray area of what's legal, what's not legal. So they could very easily do that in New York. And that's probably what they're going to do is just copy what our stupid state did and pull that off there. So it's everywhere you look, it's getting worse. It's crazy.
What's even happening in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
You know, our attorney general and I think it was the governor, probably. I don't know. Yeah, it was Governor Wolf and Josh Shapiro, both of whom can pound sand, are just they're trying to. I think it was an 80% ban. It's laughable. He said there was an interview where he was saying something. He was questioned about what Josh Prince said about the law, and he kept mentioning snap together guns. I was like, where are these snap together guns, and where can I buy one?
Yeah, where can I get a couple? Yeah,
yeah. And all of this stuff just really makes me want to get a 3D printer.
Yeah, isn't
you cannot stop the signal. Remember when they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna ban that file"? Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I might know a couple people with it.
Well, as soon as they mention they might ban it, everybody goes, "Download, thank you very much." Yep, I don't have a printer, but I want the file.
So one thing I've noticed is a lot of states are preparing the 80% lower ban, and it's weird because if you pay attention to the BS, they start they throw the word ghost gun in there, and that little phrase that gets people's attention. Scary. Oh, ghost gun! It must be so scary. Yeah, like ooba gooba.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah, I think it's actually in the bill. Ooba gooba. But they're talking about this like this is a new phenomenon. And I actually had a chat with a legislator here about 2 months ago, and they were talking about how dangerous the ghost guns are. And I said, you do realize that making your own firearm for your own self-use has been legal for the entire history of the country. Since the beginning of the country.
Forever.
It has been legal. And just because you all just found out about it, it's a problem. Like, it's never been an issue until you Bobos needed something else to complain about. And then it shut down, because I called him a Bobo and he got all upset. But
he got upset. You called him a Bobo. Did you actually say Bobo to his face?
Yeah, man, they work for me. I don't care. They're my representative.
I think it's really interesting watching them try to figure out. They're like, well, criminals are going to get these. No. Why would they buy something with a record of a sale when they could just go get one with the serial number scratched off somewhere?
And that's another thing that they don't like. They'll propose a million laws to stop everything they can think of related to firearms. But I, in my profession, have not seen one law passed yet nationwide that has caused the criminal population to say, oops, sorry, I can't do that anymore. It is never have I ever seen that happen, yet they just think it will.
That's a new game. We're going to play that at SHOT Show. Never have I ever. And we're going to do it only with gun laws.
Yeah. Take shots all night.
So I think it's really funny. The idea of passing a new law is arguably just so that they have some reason to incarcerate someone, right? As if we needed more reasons. Isn't the prison system way overcrowded in every corner of the country? Yet we want to shove more people in there and find more people into oblivion. Suddenly, there's not going to be anybody to vote for the politicians because they're all going to be in jail for nonsense.
Yeah, it's and all the laws that they pass, not one of them targets the criminal. They all target the law-abiding citizen who has a gun. They want to take this away, that away, without stats. And the stats, actually, the FBI that released the last full year of stats that came out was for 2018, a couple months ago, and more people have been killed with hammers than they were with rifles.
That's pretty consistent year over year. Hammers are dangerous.
They are, especially the black ones. Those are the assault hammers.
Oh,
they're very scary.
I thought it was the fiberglass ones. Hold on. I've got that's got a cord attached to it. Do you think this was dangerous? A spiked bat with barbed wire around it?
Well, it's got some reddish pinkish on it, so it's more friendly. But if
that's the safety barbed wire?
Yeah, that's less lethal.
Oh my God. God help somebody if they got hit with that.
Yeah, it's insane, man. Like in all the years I've been following law and the 3+ years I've been doing this channel, I've never ever seen it the way it is now. Like, it is coming nonstop from every single angle. It's almost, I mean, I almost ask what the hell's happened to the country. It's
what is going on?
It's crazy.
Jared's upset, everybody.
Yeah, it's very busy this time of year.
So, all right. So let's recap here. Virginia,
mm-hmm.
New York,
mm-hmm.
New Hampshire, Indiana,
mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania. You talked about a couple that started Colorado and Hawaii.
Yep.
Okay. What else?
Well, first I want to give a shout out to, talking about Virginia, to all of the sheriffs, deputies, chiefs, and cops who have said that they will not enforce any of this craziness. If you watch my channel, I say that stuff all the time, that I will never, ever enforce any of this bullshit if it ever comes to Massachusetts. Sorry for that language.
All right.
But I won't do it. I'll walk away because it's just a job. And to see other people around the country actually take it serious and do the same thing is a good thing. So hats off to them. And before we leave Virginia, because they've done that, they have submitted a bill that will take the job from any police officer or law enforcement official that refuses to enforce the unconstitutional laws. So congratulations for doing your job. I hope you still do that, because they're going to come trying to take their jobs away for it. Only in America.
I mean, at some point, this is going to come to a head. At some point. And it looks like Virginia might be where that happens. Also, I think it would be an interesting thing. You know, we were talking about the rally. Somebody mentioned earlier in the comments, I can't remember where it was, how the turnout for the rally in DC was not great. And it was not what it was supposed to be, or what people wanted.
Right.
You know, they're talking about 50,000, 100,000 people. Do you think that things will get rowdy? If like that many people show up, do you think things will get rowdy? Because there's inevitably a bunch of threepers that are going to show up ready to LARP. I mean, they're going to be a full kit. It's happening. You know, guys can say don't do that all they want, but it's going to happen. You bring 100,000 people, that's going to come.
Absolutely. But I will say, for those in the 3% community that I know personally, they are not going down like that. They're going down to be there to show support. So, just like any group, I mean, you take my career, police officers, you know, there are cops that are asses and there are cops that are great. Plumbers, there are plumbers that are asses while they show their asses. And then, you know, it's in every community. But when you have that many, there's more of those people there. So, I mean, it's tough to sterilize anything when you have an event, when you're pulling people from everywhere. Do I think it will happen? I don't know. I hope not. I think the possibility is there, because Virginia, as of right now, even without people coming in to add to it, is a powder keg. It's seriously close to popping off in Virginia right now. Never mind when you bring people around the country, you know, saying hoorah. But with that said, and again, I hear from all kinds of people in the government, outside the government. I've heard that there are other groups that are there to try to stir stuff up. Specifically, you know, Antifa or Antifa, however you want to say it. I know they're there, and some of the intel that we have is they might be looking to specifically start stuff while wearing other garb. Maybe
trying to incite stuff while dressed as somebody else.
Absolutely. So if you are going down, please be careful. Know who you're with. Travel in small groups, and take care of yourself. Just because if something does pop off, I mean, with 50 to 200,000 people, that even if 20,000 people show up armed, that could be a problem quick. And that's what they want. That's what the opposition wants. They absolutely want something bad to happen so they can go, look, we told you so. Now vote all this stuff.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we currently have, I think it's 5,000 troops in Iraq.
Yeah.
5,000. So if we get more people than that armed in Virginia, I hope things go well.
Yeah, definitely. It's
all right. We're covering all kinds of stuff. Is there more?
Oh yeah, of course there's more, man. It doesn't end.
I mean, the comment section is just full of, hey, this state's doing this, this state's doing something. All right.
Oh yeah,
lay it on me.
Virginia. I'm sorry, I keep saying I'm stuck on Virginia. Kentucky threw in their own assault weapon ban bill and magazine bill. Anything 10 rounds or over. Kentucky, a state that you'd never thought that would happen in. Let's see. We'll go down the list here. Bloomberg running for president, and even though he said if he didn't pass, he would still get all of this gun control through because it's working. He bought the election in Virginia. What else do we have? Sorry, most of the stuff is Virginia. All my headlines here. Baltimore got back into it. If you know anything about Baltimore, Maryland, it's like Chirac Part 2. But now they're going after gun manufacturers.
Come on, it's a nice place.
Yeah, it's very friendly. It's beautiful. In the ballpark, it's beautiful.
You know what? So Baltimore is an hour and a half from me. And we used to go there when I was a kid on field trips to the Inner Harbor, which is where the aquarium is and a bunch of shops. And I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff. Everybody used to go to the aquarium specifically, but it was a beautiful area. And my understanding, I haven't been there in years. My understanding is now that it's completely overwhelmed by homeless people, gangs, and that sort of thing. And it's just gone way downhill.
Yeah, it's tough. The law enforcement there has been ordered not to enforce stuff. So they've been ordered to stand down and let stuff happen. And it's absolutely insane. They can't keep people on the job down there. You wonder why. What else going on? I know there were a couple bills submitted, like Oklahoma is doing some pro 2A stuff. I still have to dig into that and make some phone calls. There are still a few states that are actually trying to protect the second. And there'll be more videos coming out this week about that because I'm sick and tired of talking about negativity. So I got to get some good stuff in there so I don't want to jump off a bridge or something. Then there's China. China got involved. They said that there are too many American citizens with guns, and it's a problem that needs to change. So if you care about that, let's get rid of our guns because of China.
Yeah, the company that literally wants to take over our country.
Yeah,
they said we shouldn't be armed. We should listen.
The UN, of course. I don't know if you saw that job posting. The United Nations is looking for.
Oh yeah, I saw the headlines and people freaking out. What was that all about?
So they posted. So from what I understand, and this person I got the info said he used to do missions with the UN. So I kind of take him for his word. You really can't get the answer because they don't tell you. From what he said, that the disarmament positions, which typically go into an area after a civil war, strip the guns from everybody, quell the problem, put people into internment camps that need to be locked up, and then try to get things back to normal. That was decentralized. So what he told me was if they need those people, say in Rwanda, then the duty station would say Rwanda. This duty station says New York. And it also says one of the requirements is you must be fluent in English. From there, you have to just connect dots if you want to connect dots. But they're hiring for that position in the U.S., and it doesn't say that they're sending them overseas. So I take that with a grain of salt. I don't put too much weight into it, but I do think it's awkward, especially with what's going on not too far from there.
Wasn't there a bunch of stuff a couple years back about the UN trying to disarm the U.S.? I don't remember if it was like an assault weapons ban or some nonsense where the UN was going to pass something and somehow that was going to affect law here. And I distinctly remember going, I don't follow the laws that the UN creates.
Yeah, it's Agenda 21 and the Small Arms Treaty. If you take a peek through that one day, if you're bored and want to read something, it does say in there that their ultimate goal is to disarm countries and to take guns away from people. It's more for the the New World Order type deal or global government type deal. But yeah, Agenda 21 it's there. You can read it online, and it says a lot of that stuff in there.
What a bunch of clowns.
Oh, Virginia's going to ban was it lead-free ammo? They don't want that out there anymore.
They're going to ban wait. They're going to ban lead-free ammo or lead-based ammo.
Lead-free. So the whole country is trying to get away from lead and go lead-free. So Virginia wants to ban lead-free.
You're serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they know what that means? like what? I'm really, really confused. Is it because they assume that we don't want no polymer undetectable bullets? Like, is that what's happening?
Well, they specifically mentioned one of the 3 sections was specifically Teflon coated rounds. So maybe like the Don Johnson days of the 1980s when we all had the black Talon. Oh yeah, the black Talon.
I'm going to go to Home Depot. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to Home Depot and I'm going to get some Teflon lubricant spray, and I'm going to spray down some ammo, and I'm going to shoot it through barriers next to something that is not coated in Teflon, and see if there really is a difference, because I think that is the most nonsensical crap.
Oh yeah.
Like, ooh, Teflon coated. What did we just come up with that? What about cassette tapes? Watch out for that. Yeah. Have you heard of the compact disc?
Kansas was in the news. Kansas was one of those pro-gun movements.
First of all, let's give a shout out to Kansas for being in the news.
Yes.
Good job, Kansas. Way to be in the news for once.
Yeah. Toto, we're not there anymore.
All right.
So they have a bill that's looking to protect residents from red flag orders. So they don't have a red flag, and this bill is looking to make that illegal. So they're looking to put an umbrella around their citizenry there to say that you cannot come and confiscate guns via red flag. So that's actually something decent. Yeah. And it was submitted in both houses too, so that actually means it's probably a good chance that it passes.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, let's clap again for Kansas.
Yeah.
All right, Kansas. Hey, people in the comments are quite upset about the ammo talk. Black Talons were not Teflon coated. Did you say that?
That was the whole thing. No, that was, if you remember, as somebody who was issued them to carry, that was the whole thing, that Black Talons were Teflon coated and can slide through vests. It wasn't. They couldn't. Yeah, and then because of that backlash, they changed it. So it was Winchester, and then they created the SXT, which was the same exact thing, except they didn't have the black coating on it anymore. And the cartridge changed that ammo. Oh yeah, I still shoot it.
It's called the Ranger T now. The last I looked, it was called Ranger T. I shot it. It's junk.
Yeah, it's cheap.
It's not good defensive ammo. Somebody also said Teflon spray is not the same. I am well aware of that. I am well aware. I'm trying to prove a point. People get really like narrowed in on like some interesting stuff in videos. Like, well, that one itty bitty little thing.
Oh yeah, I get picked on all the time for I make a joke. People get pissed off about the joke, so I try not to joke anymore.
You're not allowed to joke. This is America. You can't do that. Somebody's going to get offended.
Well, you have to have a sense of humor when you deal with all this negativity. Otherwise, you don't know what to do anymore.
Oh, hey, I want to talk about this because it's kind of relevant because people were freaking out about it. It's completely unrelated to guns. Did you hear Ricky Gervais is a conservative now?
Yeah.
Okay, while I'm on a rant, Ricky Gervais is not a conservative for the love of God.
No, and you don't get to.
He's just not against. He's against pedophilia.
Yeah,
which is like half of Hollywood.
Right, and you don't get to get up and host that in front of that crowd without being okayed and vetted and they probably knew exactly what he was going to say. Maybe he threw in a couple, bombs, but
He made an Epstein joke.
Yeah, that was good. He said, "Yeah, shut up. I know he's your friend."
It was good. It was good. I laughed.
But he prefaced it. He did say that it was going to be the last year he'll ever host it. So he knew he was going to cut his own throat with it.
Imagine if they invite him back and he just gets him on stage. Just what? What am I doing here? I'm not sure. All right, more gun law nonsense. Do we have anything else? Because we've covered about half the country already.
Yeah, that's it for the recent stuff. I know Indiana, and somebody actually put it in here. They're looking to prohibit guns in hospitals. There's actually a few states that have passed something similar to that. And I just usually walk right in anyway with my gun on because concealed carry is just that. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's coming at us from every angle, and the big threat is the red flag. So even the states that have squashed it, like Alaska has twice, it will be resubmitted. 100% will be resubmitted, and they're just waiting for the opportunity. Eventually, they'll get somebody with a heartstring to put it up again, and the pity party will go out, and you have to do this, because think of the children, and and think of all of the people who want to hurt themselves or others, and think of all the school shootings, and that's how they get this crap passed. But I'm glad to see that more good guys with guns are out there stopping bad guys with guns, even in churches. That's an awesome thing. I'm sure you've heard about that one.
Oh, that was amazing. That was the next flat out amazing. It was 6 seconds, I think.
Yeah. I guess he was a former FBI agent.
Really? Yeah. He there was an interview with him that was floating around. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but for those that are unaware, there was a gunman that came into a church. From the second the gun came out, not the first shot, from the second the gun came out, it was 6 seconds till he had a bullet in his head. Yep. That's violent. Yep. Like that is, whew, and he managed to get 2 people in the meantime, and stopped, thankfully, from like 20 yards away, maybe. I don't know. It was a good. It was a good shot
and moving. Headshot from distance while moving. That was a good shot. That was real good. And for those who are watching, if you don't train, you got to train, because the stats are the average encounter is 3 rounds in 3 seconds at a distance of 3 yards. So that's what you should be training for, because that's how fast stuff happens.
I think the gun industry has a very hard time explaining why training matters. Because you can say that all day, but people will not go take a class. And I've told trainers, we do a lot of marketing help with a lot of different types of people, whether it's just like a friendly conversation or what. But trainers in general are piss poor at marketing themselves. And I'll tell you what, man, people really, really need it badly. And that is never communicated. And the fact that it's $400 half the time doesn't help, but I don't know how to bring the cost down.
Yeah, and as a trainer, I used to teach it. I don't because I don't have time. But when I was running and gunning around the state, it was the same deal. Like, you can't get people to come off a nickel until it's too late, and they realize that and when it's too late, then instead of a nickel, they'll spend $50,000 to get what they need. But the training part is the most overlooked yet most valuable aspect of owning a firearm, at least in my humble opinion.
The minimal amount of training that I've taken has elevated my understanding of how to use my gun. Like it's miles ahead of where I thought I was. Every time I go to a different class or work with a trainer, just playing around at the range, I'm like, man, I am not good enough. I am not good enough. I'm actually, for anybody that's in Pennsylvania, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be promoting this, but there's a Chris Costa class coming up in the spring, and I'm going to be there because why not, right? Why not go train with Costa?
Absolutely. That's a great place to start.
Yeah. All right. So we've gone through all of these things. What do you think is the number one thing that people need to be doing from states that are not affected? What should people be doing?
You should definitely be supporting whatever your particular group in your state is that is pro 2A, but actually does stuff. So there are some states that have multiple groups, and some of those groups aren't as active as others. You're going to want to support those. I always say support those who support you. Like, for instance, VCDL, they are kicking butt in Virginia. Throw them some money. I send them money. I don't even live in Virginia. I live in Massachusetts. I send money to Firearms Policy Coalition, to Gun Owners of America. And while we might not think of it, we send them $5, $10, $15. If a lot of people do that, then they can carry out these lawsuits, which cost a lot of money. People always say, take it to the Supreme Court. Well, they have no idea how many millions of dollars that takes to take a case from a municipal level to go to the top. It takes millions of dollars. It's time and money. And they don't unless they're run by some Michael Bloomberg, they don't have that money. And they count on us, the membership. So you can start by doing that. Get active in your community. If you know somebody who would make a great candidate for office, get them to go, get them to run, and you got to support them. And far too often, I don't know about your area of Pennsylvania, but here in Mass, we've had some great candidates come out who are pro-Constitution, pro 2A, but not a single person will take a nickel out of their wallet to give to them. And then when they don't win, they bitch and moan about it. I had a personal friend of mine run against Maura Healey, and he would have been a great candidate, except she outspent him and out-earned him 6-1. So you just can't win like that. So yeah, get active in your community, get good people to run for office. Sometimes that person is you. There are many of us common folk, who would be fantastic in office, and then just realizing that's you. I'd do it one day maybe, but this state, I'd probably be in office for about 12 days before they kicked me out of there.
I've honestly considered trying to run for office, and then I remember that I am a total piece of crap. And dude, look, the way they have gone after every politician and dug up so much crap. Like I've been on the internet for most of my adult life, if not all of it. Mm-hmm. And I've said some really, really stupid things on the internet. Somebody can find it.
Oh yeah, but you know what? You're a real person though, and the real people who would vote for you would see that. Why do you think Trump won when he won the first time? It's because he had no filter. He said what everybody else was thinking, and he didn't care the repercussions. He, lock her up, even though he should still do it. He didn't care, if it pissed her off when he said that. And that's what government originally was for. It was, of the schmucks, for the schmucks, by the schmucks. It was us, the common folk, not the elite rich people. It was the farmers. They'd come, they'd serve for a couple terms, and they go back to their fields. And that's what it's supposed to be, not these lawyers, these people who have, never fought a hard day in their life. They have the silver spoon stuff. But that's what it's supposed to be. It's us. And if more of us, the common folk, don't get involved, I'm afraid for the country.
We're screwed. Like I genuinely think we're unfortunately past the point of like you kind of have a choice to get involved. You have to get involved. Like, guys all the time, I'm sure you get this. If an issue comes up and you can't jump on it right away, or you don't get to it immediately when that person gets there, it's like you are the worst person. Like, why aren't you doing blank? Like I caught a ton of crap. We covered 1639 in Washington 2 or 3 different times, like literally multiple videos about it. And I got so many messages like, why aren't you covering this? Why aren't you covering this? It's like, did you watch the 3 videos that we already made about this? Like you cannot carry the torch for liberty for everybody. We can't do it. And I think it's one of those things. It's the same thing about carrying a gun. No one is coming to save you. It's up to you.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's a tough thing to break. We've just become so lazy as a community, not just the community, but society. In American society, we're lazy as all. Look, our cars drive themselves now, and it's to get somebody to go against the norm is harder now than it ever was. But yeah, if they don't get involved, we're screwed, man. We really are screwed. We call ourselves the silent majority, But the fact is that those of us who own guns in the country is actually a minority. It's actually like 40% of the country if you take the high end. So we need to be active because we're already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, we're getting trampled right now.
Yeah.
I spoke to Brandon Combs. He was actually guest number 1. And for those that are unaware, he is the guy that heads up Firearms Policy Coalition. I was talking to him recently. I said, "How are you doing, man?" He's like, "We are busy. We are busy." And they're only one group. And, we look at gun groups in the U.S., like federal level stuff. I would say that most of them are incapable of pushing by themselves. Most of them do not have the resources. Even the NRA now is a catastrophe of what it once was. Despite them still being the largest membership wise, I think they're struggling in a lot of different ways, and they certainly do not have the power that they used to.
But they put up some billboards in Virginia, so you got to give them that.
Oh my God. Stop it. Stop. My point is, none of these groups can do it by themselves.
Yeah.
Especially without support. When we say support, people instantly think, I'm not giving them any money. You don't have to. You can do what Chuck Rossi calls, do you know Chuck? You should know Chuck.
No.
Chuck is the former director of engineering from Facebook. He was on the show. We've had a bunch of amazing people on here. He was on the show, and the term he used is signal boost. Signal boosting a concept, much like what happened in Virginia, where everybody just lifted this up and made it international news. That's the sort of thing that everybody can do very easily. Right.
Yeah, they don't just spread the word is the most powerful thing people can do. And it's, your channel's bigger than mine. I have to pull teeth sometimes to get people to share the most important stuff.
Check back next week. You'll be ahead of us.
Nah, man, I owe it to you guys. So, you've been a big help. You had me on the channel and it helped out great. So that in Virginia, if it wasn't for TGC.
If it wasn't for Virginia, I'll be number 2 to Virginia. I'll take that. All right. So unfortunately, we have to wrap up. We have to. We can't be here all night talking guns. Is there anything you want to tell people before we roll out tonight?
Yeah, be vocal. Get involved. You hear it a lot. I mean, John and I have said it probably 12 times today, but it is so important. I still hear from politicians who say, look, we got 5,000 calls and letters on this. All right, we get it. We get the picture. We'll back down. It still works. Maybe not with those who are already set up anyway. Lizzie Warren, Joe Biden, they don't give a hoot. But for those who are your local people, maybe just got on, still care about the community they serve, it's rare. But those people still can be influenced when people, show up, email, call, talk. It still makes a difference. And you still have to do it. There's so much coming at us from every direction, we have to be loud. No longer can we just sit back and say, you know what, John and Adam will put a video up. They'll take care of it. You can't do that anymore. Everybody has to get out. You have to be loud. You have to be proud. And it's our rights. I mean, I'm doing this for my kids and their kids one day, because that's what matters to me is the future of the country.
Not only that, but we only reach, people that are looking for content, right?
Right.
You're not going to reach somebody in most cases that doesn't get on the internet. And that's a lot of people that don't regularly look for content about these sorts of things.
Right.
It's not going to get into their feed because they don't look for it.
Right.
So reaching more people is always going to be a good thing. But
yeah,
all right, so be vocal. All right. Yeah. Anything else?
Put this down and actually talk to people,
but I don't want to
this stuff. Yeah. And support those who support you. I've said it before, and it really makes a difference. Support, Firearms Policy Coalition does a ton of work. GOA does a ton of work. VCDL is kicking butt. You have agencies that are out there. Second Amendment Foundation does work. Those that are out there doing work, support them. Because they can't do it on their own and they depend on the membership. And if the membership says, I sent them $20 last year, that's it. That doesn't get it done. You know, you have to come off that cup of coffee every now and then and send it to somebody who's fighting for you.
Ain't that the truth? Well, guys, you need to go get subscribed to Guns and Gadgets on YouTube. Follow him on social media. I have never seen somebody be so quick to cover all of the things related to the Second Amendment. It is unfathomable how fast you are at getting stuff out there. I don't know how you do it. I love it. I appreciate it more than you know. And guys, also be sure to check out our sponsors, Vertex and Make Ready Arms, because they support us, much like we were talking about earlier. Support the people that support you. If you could support them, I would love you forever and ever. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.
Take care, guys.